Hi guys, it's Kat. Today, I'm going to show you how I painted this brownstone for the exterior of my miniature roombox building. I'll go over all the steps with measurements so you can easily follow along and create your own. Make sure to watch until the end where I announce the winner of the paint set giveaway. Let's get started. I'm painting on this wood panel because this will be the exterior for a roombox I'm building. However, you can also paint on canvas. The first thing I do is paint a base layer. I chose to spray white paint with my airbrush for a flawless finish. Now let's draw the outline of our building. Draw a vertical line 1 3/4 of an inch away from the left side. Draw a second vertical line 1 3/4 of an inch away from the right side. Now draw a horizontal line 1.5 inches from the bottom and one that's 1 inch away from the top. This rectangle outlines the building. I added a center line as a guide, but that's optional. From the left side, measure 1/2 inch and draw a vertical line. Then draw 5 more vertical lines, spacing them 3/4 of an inch apart. From the bottom of the rectangle, draw a horizontal line 1/2 inch away. Draw another one 1 1/3 of an inch away from that line. Add a 1/2 inch space and draw 4 more horizontal lines to create the second and third story windows. Let's add detail to the window frames. I add a border inside the windows by drawing lines 1/8 of an inch away from the window frame. Add 2 vertical borders dividing the window into thirds. Add 2 more horizontal borders and you have 9 sections for your window. Do this for all the windows except the bottom right one, which will be the front door. A tip to make this step easier is to use a long ruler and draw the borders for all your windows at once. This also ensures that all of them line up perfectly. Now add a 1/4 inch thick windowsill on the bottom of each window. Draw 2 horizontal lines 1/8 of an inch above the window for some decorative detail on top. Make sure to angle the top borders. Now it's time for the front door. Add 2 vertical lines 1/8 of an inch outside the guidelines to make the door wider than the window. Then draw vertical lines 1/5 of an inch away from those to create some pillars. Above the door, I draw 5 horizontal lines super close to each other. These will be the awning above the porch area. Close them off with angle and straight lines. Here, I'm adding detail to the door. The top rectangles will be window panes built into the door. I know I've thrown a bunch of numbers at you so far, but I promise it'll all make sense when we start painting. Before we do that, let's add some steps leading up to the front door. I draw 2 curves leading from the front door down and outward. Then draw 10 horizontal lines between those curves, gradually spacing them further and further apart. Now let's start painting. I use this miniature brush to add beige color all over the building except the window and the door. I also pull this paint down and cover the bottom area next to the steps. Now I use this light brown color to fill in all the window frames. I have all the colors I use listed in the info box below. I also always list all the supplies I use, including this paint set and the brushes. Here I'm testing out this blue color to see if it looks good. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to use it. To outline all the details, I'm using this black ink pen. As I mentioned, I don't like this blue, so I'm covering it up with this cool gray color. Now I go back with my ruler and outline all the details with the ink pen. This pen is part of a big set of fine liner pens I use throughout this painting. One thing to keep in mind is that they're not waterproof, so I need to seal in between each layer. You don't need to do this if you're drawing on paper. To seal it, I'll be using this clear matte finishing spray by Kryolan. Next, I fill in the front door with a dark brown and outline all the details. I mix the beige paint I use for the building and the light brown I use for the windowsills to create this dark cream color for the pillars and the awning. I tape off the bottom section next to the steps and paint this area the same color. I also use it to highlight the window frames. Next, I take a fine liner in this peach color and outline the top of the building with several horizontal lines. Because I'm impatient, I use a hairdryer to fully dry all the ink before spraying the finishing spray. For the steps, I first paint this whole area gray. Then draw straight lines leading from the pillars down outward for the handrails. Paint those beige. I drew these ornate handrail posts, but a simple rectangle is more than enough. While that dries, I highlight the door with a lighter brown. Then highlight each step with a lighter gray. Time for some greenery. I stipple on black paint everywhere I want a bush. This is my base layer. Then go in with a dark green on top of it, leaving some black peeking through. While that dries, I paint the roofline of this building the same light brown we use for the window frames. I'm constantly going back and forth between areas as I wait for paint to dry. Here I use the peach ink pen to add details to the stair posts. Now I outline each step with black ink. Back to the bushes. Add a lighter green for the next layer, leaving the bottom areas dark. Lastly, add an even lighter green to the tips of the bushes where the sun will hit it. This next step is optional. I take the peach ink pen and draw horizontal lines all the way down the length of the building. I space them 1/8 of an inch apart. Then use a black ink pen to draw 2 lines below each window. Fill in that area with light brown. This helps to visually divide each story. While that dries, I tape off the bottom area below the bushes and add gray paint for the look of pavement. Here I added some details to the roof line. Back to the brickwork. I draw vertical lines 1/4 of an inch apart to create bricks. Make sure to stagger them for a more realistic look. It was here that I decided I didn't like the white background and chose to spray it blue. This is completely optional, and I'm pretty sure I just needed an excuse to play with my airbrush. Let's finish up the brickwork. Almost done, guys. I wanted to balance the bushes on the bottom with some greenery up top, so I decided to add a tree. I used black paint to add some random strokes for branches. The more random they are, the more natural they'll look. Once the branches are dry, I stipple on green paint for the leaves. I got way too heavy-handed here and ended up covering most of the branches. So learn from my mistakes and go slow. I add some light green to highlight the tips. Because this painting is actually the exterior of a room box and building, I'm attaching it to another wood panel. Stack these panels hollow sides together and add hinges to connect them. Lastly, let's add a fence to finish this painting off. I add a strip of tape horizontally across the painting where the steps start. Then draw vertical lines to create posts for the fence. They are 1/8 of an inch thick and 1/4 of an inch apart from each other. I add another strip of paint 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. Now fill in those posts with black acrylic paint. Once that's dry, I remove all the tape. Then add more tape right on the tips of those posts. We're creating a straight horizontal line to connect all the posts to each other. Do the same for the bottom edge. Remove the tape and your fence is done. That's it. This painting is fully complete. Before I go, I just wanted to announce the winner of the paint set giveaway. Congratulations to Alice Hewitt for winning a paint set of your very own. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys liked this video and learned some tips and tricks today. I have so many projects coming up for you guys, so make sure to subscribe. Keep up with me on my Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye!